You're listening to Jim and James Chew the Cud.
When was the last time you saw a Chevrolet in Tokyo?
I have no idea what they're talking about.
Robbing biological urges.
You're crazy, son. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
You're listening to Jim and James Chew the Cud.
Welcome to episode 203.
What a number.
Of I have to go on a t-shirt.
Forgot about that one.
203 of Jim and James Chew the Cud, a podcast about nothing. First one to do the ad sponsor we've got.
Yeah, please do.
Because the podcast has started to go well, hasn't it? I think it's been well received.
Yeah.
Mostly. We'll come to that in a bit.
Beard Box were going to sponsor us, but they're shutting down, so there's no point.
Yeah, and people won't know who that is. But we do have an ad sponsor from Casper Mattresses. So I'm just going to read that.
Please do.
Who doesn't love a good mattress? And with over 50 years of mattress expertise, Casper is the right choice. And now Casper Mattresses are offering Chew the Cud listeners a 120 night free money back guarantee. I have a Casper mattress, and I know, James, you said when you were a truck driver in the 80s and you used to drive down that road where all the young boys went missing, that a Casper mattress made that cabin a lot more comfortable. Use Chew at checkout for a 120-day money-back guarantee.
Right, it's Chew.
Thank you to Casper.
C-H-E-W.
Yeah.
Chew.
Get on with the show.
Manscaped also offered a sponsor.
We have another sponsor later on.
So if you go on there and put in the code "How Did That Get Made," it's actually us really, and not another podcast. But if your balls are hairy or your fanny's hairy, if you're a girl or American, you can go there.
It's good that did sound like a real podcast advert. Kind of actually on that, because you immediately went to like hairy. What did you say? Hairy fannies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had a letter regarding the first two episodes of the podcast. You're being accused of being crass and quite vulgar. Now, I was going to defend you on this, but you already opened up with hairy fannies. So.
I mean, American, bottom.
The letter goes, Dear Jim and James, I don't know which one of you is which, but it doesn't matter. I don't write to you as a fan of your podcast, but as a concerned parent, having just listened to episodes 201 and 202, and would like to offer you some feedback. Firstly, episode 202 was incredibly crass. Are you aware that you referred to ejaculate 5 times in as many minutes? That's the term for cum, by the way, because I'm not sure that you'd understand that without an explanation. You said cum repeatedly throughout the podcast. I thought the references to cum when James was talking about parody porn was enough, and then Jim had a question about horse cum. There is no need to repeatedly talk about cum. Perhaps you could use phrases like love porridge or zygote-bearing fluid or sex juice. If referring to animal cum, the same rules could apply. Perhaps equine milk. Your podcast should be a meal for the ears, but in terms of nutritional breakdown, I feel like it was possibly as high as 60% of episode 202 was at least semen adjacent. Nothing should be 60% cum. What is this? The hot tub at one of James's wooden getaways with the lads? This leads me to episode 201. James said he was sat in a park and imagined a young girl pissing into his mouth. I have been made aware that in prior episodes James has been vocal about his opinions to the archaic and restrictive age of consent. But this seemed beyond the pale for even him. Where was his chaperone during this visit? I look forward to hearing from you address this issue on the podcast. Regards, Chudd Griffin.
Oh, Chudd.
Yeah.
Long time listener, big time wanker.
That was one of their suggested nom de plumes. The other one was John McCordy.
Yeah.
I feel gives it away.
Yeah, so we can't use that.
The up and coming YouTuber.
Yeah, I mean.
No, I agree. It was cum heavy.
Do merchandise.
Do merchandise, John. It was. We will have merch coming soon. Actually, I'm quite happy about this. For example, he referred to me as a cum podcaster. Fine with that. Cum heavy podcast. But we've got to raise those concerns. It was a fairly crass.
Yeah, and I apologise for that. But it wasn't a young lady. It was a woman.
No, that's weird.
Woman who was in her 30s.
Because you never said it was a young.
No,
woman.
he just took that from. I mean, it's more about him.
I agree.
I
think
said. He's got cum in his ears, basically.
I think it's a reflection on the man that he heard a woman be attractive and thought underage. Yeah. There is an element that if I only listened to the podcast, I would assume they were underage because of the way you do.
So your continuous comments whenever you
say that, but yes, last episode you were talking about wanting more than a relationship with an animal. Sorry, was it more than just a hand job? You wanted a whole relationship.
I did say relationship, but is it more than just kind of a blowy from an octopus? It'd be quite beaky. Cause you mentioned birds as well, like a parrot is what you mentioned.
So with less than 7 minutes,
and a parrot would not be good at that because
No,
it's got claws and it's got a beak.
At that point, I don't think the parrot was your suggestion.
It was yours. You said parrot.
No, I didn't. I said dog. You started talking about...
I listened to it yesterday. You said parrot.
You started talking about a man, though. That wasn't the oral bit. You refused to play along, and then started talking about a man that owned a parrot, and no one thought that was weird. It's a strong disagree. I think you would have the octopus and fuck it to death. And I don't care what John Cordy thinks.
Well, you do, because you were crying earlier on. He's an influencer. We were talking about this yesterday, and I said to him, you're posting videos saying you're a failed musician. What's your job? He's like, I don't have a job. You post 3 videos a day on YouTube. You're a YouTuber. Yeah. He went, oh, you're a podcaster. Yeah, yes. But you got another job. So.
Yeah, we do a podcast. We are podcasters, just as he.
He's just a dog daddy.
And he has a kid as well.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think has he ever put a kid's head, mouth in his mouth, or is that just his dog he does that?
No, it's just the dog so far. There is a video of that. That is true. To the 3 people that will get that. No, John has a kid, so he's a dog daddy and a normal dad as well. Mm. But I'm not going to talk about the kid.
He's also a guitar daddy.
Yeah.
And a podcast, and a YouTuber daddy.
He has been on other podcasts as well. Mm. He was on a guitar one. I watched it. It was
just when he gave a wanker symbol. Yeah.
It was some really good chat about guitar, and they were being a little bit edgy as well. Yeah, in a way that we would get criticised for.
Well, he's shouting a lot as well.
No, he was just making comments about his go-to is sort of like Pete Townsend.
Oh, Reset.
Yeah, or Ian Watkins from Lost Prophets. Or Steps. So I do think the criticisms of us talking about things that are not family friendly is a little bit rich. Mm. Much like him. He's a little bit rich.
Yeah.
He'd be richer if he did merchandise, but he won't.
Which you can get him a good deal, can't you, as well?
Yeah, we could do that, but he'd never accept my help. He doesn't. He wants to have
full control.
Yeah. There's, in case people think this is us just being aggressive to him, and he doesn't have the right of reply, I would point out, 1, that he contacted us.
Yeah, you read it out.
And 2, he's welcome to come on the podcast and talk about it and his hypocrisies. Hmm. Because he likes Matty Healy, who, in a conversation last week, I said that I didn't... He was kicking off about... John was kicking off about 1975 in, I think it was Malaysia.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, he's been kicked out for doing something that he's not meant to do there. And John thinks this is me taking sides with the sort of despotic government.
But I think the Malaysian
I just think Matt Healy's... honestly, I can't take someone seriously if their dad is Tim Healy and Denise Welsh.
Yeah.
That is his mum.
Yeah.
And
also related to Florence and Florence and Machine as well.
Really?
Yeah.
No matter how you dress up in a suit and act like you've had a rough upbringing, if your parents are Tim Healy and Denise Welsh, it's all affectation. I just think it's coincidental that he does this stuff right after the whole making comments on a podcast thing, which... If is good enough for Matt Healy, for John is fine with Matt Healy talking about these things. Mm. I think it was on one of the Come Town podcasts, and yet we talk about how much would it take for you to drink horse ejaculate, and that's a problem.
Or equine milk. Or
equine juice.
I think to show his full support of the abhorrent Matt Healy, he should eat a steak. A raw steak on his YouTube channel.
He loves Matt Healy because he loves
Get
Matt
off with
Healy.
Some random bloke and then upset an entire country.
That's a really good point. If John stands with Matt Healy, he needs to make out with a Malaysian man on his YouTube channel.
Yeah, and just drink a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
While then...
equine milk.
Then wooing an underage girl in the front of the audience.
Yeah. That's a good point, isn't it? Yeah, Matt.
I'm not saying Matt does.
He does post good memes, so it's all good, and there's some good songs.
And he does a great impression of a Chinese person.
Yeah,
as does Matt Healy.
And when I did an impression of a deaf person in episode 201, John said it was something that he'd rather not talk to me about. I I just asked him what he thought of it, and he was like, "I don't want to talk about that." But if Matt Healy had done it, maybe in a suit with the top button undone, the tie loose, and a cigarette, he would
lap it up.
Yeah, quite literally, that equine juice, that equine love juice. So I do want to make it a little bit classier.
But thank you for your feedback. It's been taken on board.
Yeah, and if everyone else has got feedback on how we can do the thing that we do better, absolutely welcome to hear that. But I do want to, I think it's always a chance to grow and improve.
But you need to have at least 15 downloads on Podbean
We're crushing that. We are now approaching the near 9,000 barrier, which I don't believe John has that many downloads on his podcast. So I don't know. I thought I wanted to just like class it up a little bit when I ask a hypothetical question, but just class it up. So just general question, get the juices flowing. Not those juices, John, don't worry.
The mental juices.
Front or back of a human centipede, but with Brie Larson in the middle?
Back.
It's the obvious answer, isn't it? Like when I read that question, I did think I know what you're going to say.
It's not even a question, really.
Yeah. Because the other one I saw, and again, not even a question when you know someone, would you have sex with a gender-bent doppelganger of yourself for $100 million? You would pay to do that.
Well, I would. I would do it.
I don't think that I wouldn't either.
$100 million is a lot of money. It's like £4 in Brexit money.
I think that when I saw that question, I was like, yeah, of course. Who wouldn't? Genuinely, like, you know that Billy Connolly bit about like, if you leave someone in a room with a tea cozy, if they don't put it on their head, don't trust them. If you're left in a room with your gender-bent doppelganger and there's candles and wine, and you don't do anything, it's a bit weird.
Unless it's a twin, then it's a bit weird.
No, it's a gender-bent one.
Yeah, no, but if you got a twin who's the opposite gender, don't do that. That's
that's fair.
Wrong.
Yeah,
and I think John could probably agree with us on that.
You would? How much would you? You'd probably, I'd imagine, pay for.
We said $100 million. I'll take
that. That's the thing, isn't it? The question's not even. I can't remember who sent this in, but it's not even.
If it was £50, then that's a proper question you might think about.
Yeah.
Then it'll probably be no. It's not.
There's very little things that I wouldn't do for $100 million.
Yeah.
And if one of them is having sex with myself, I'm fine with that. Another question that I've got that I thought I'd try and bring in for a wider audience. Dogs. Dogs in education, really. Professor, I don't know if you saw this, a professor was found in some like rural toilets in like these country walks in America having relations with his dog.
Like an argument? Or
No, it seems to mainly be John, cover your ears, oral.
Oh.
Again, I'll get into that. But
who performed it?
The dog was doing it. He was found. There'd been reports of something happening there, so they like staked it out. When he was found, he was apparently a professor at a very prestigious university. His first words were, "Please kill me now." Is that a fair reaction? Do you think?
No, I don't own a dog.
No one said anything about owning the dog. A dog can't consent, right? A child knows it's wrong. They always say like,
"Oh, I knew something was wrong."
I'd be Kim Jong-un. I'm on my deathbed, just like bring me James from my favourite podcast, Jim and James Chew the Cud, because we do have North Korean fans, and shout out to you guys.
Yeah, and I think North Korea, it needs to be a place where you can go to and you know you can get high, get pressured by a lady or a man, anyone who you want. You can just, it's like some sort of magical fairyland.
Yeah.
And I would
Can't say fairy.
Some magic land, man.
Yeah, okay.
And I want to push it as the ultimate tourist location for all those things.
So you're saying that you take over North Korea?
Yeah.
Day one.
Let's open it up.
You're just like, everyone come in.
Everyone, anyone.
We've got all these drugs. We have all these prostitutes now.
Yeah. And I reckon I can probably get a lot of those prostitutes from Amsterdam Red Light District.
Buy them over.
Just shift them over. Like,
it just feels like I've asked you a question about what you do, and I was thinking more along the lines of maybe changing the haircuts. You're now immediately launching into sex trafficking. What it should be like is that if one of us took over a country that was ruled by a tyrant, we shouldn't make new problems such as sex trafficking.
Well, it's not sex trafficking as such.
But also, it's not even your sex trafficking the people that are already in poverty in North Korea. Not that would be better.
Well, no, they'll be working in bars and things, and we like
unpacking the crates of women you're shipping over from Amsterdam.
And hotels and restaurants. Right. So it'll bring in a lot of trade.
So you're saying that people are going to go over there and go
to have a good time.
I could just go to Holland.
Yeah, but you can't now.
But it's a little bit more tricky than it used to be. So what I'm going to do is go into the recently demilitarized North Korea.
Yeah.
Where women are just appearing from Holland. They have no idea. Liam Neeson is skulking around trying to find his daughter somewhere. Because this is the thing, your actions, you're going to welcome vengeful fathers.
Okay, then. I'm not doing the sex part.
We'll put a pin in the sex trafficking.
I might come in later on, but not straight away.
You'll get the groundwork.
So it's going to be
first.
a party location, like Ibiza.
The whole country.
Like in the late 90s, there was a great show called Ibiza Uncovered.
Right.
And
what was that about?
Ibiza and British louts having a good time.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be like North Korea Uncovered. Mm-hmm. And it was in 2 levels. You know, it's uncovered, it's open for viewing.
Yeah.
And also people are wearing swimsuits.
Just had a thought that you asking for if your Dutch get in touch sounds a lot more menacing now. There's the spectre of
possible
being
kidnapping
kidnapped from a hotel room. But if you are Dutch, get in touch. I'm not the one saying that you're going to end up in some sort of dingy North Korean back. This is day one, right? Day one, you started trafficking people in. It's the same.
Well, I want it to succeed.
You're not even going like. There's no pretense. But you're going, oh yeah, no, don't come over to North Korea. It will be beautiful and lovely. They'll go. It's day one. Kim Jong Un's not even.
And also, to what else I would do?
Yeah,
it's got missiles.
Right, fire them all at once.
Well, kind of.
I
would change the warheads into fireworks.
Right.
And then it's like every other Friday, launch a couple over the cities and just go, look at the fireworks exploding overhead. And also that shows...
Could you not achieve that just by using the fireworks?
But that shows we're also friendly by... We're using up our military might and turning it into party fodder.
But you could just use fireworks.
Like the soldiers and like the tanks could be used to transport or fire like beer across the bar.
Right.
Guns be the same.
I feel in your head this North Korea is the size of a city rather than
I know
it's
quite large.
Yeah.
But it's a half size of Korea, isn't it? I turn it into like a party location. Mm-hmm. Fill it full of music, and I would introduce a chain called. Well, got into beetroot recently. Really into beetroot, and
sorry, what the fuck does that mean?
I'm going to tell you.
Really
got
into
it. It's like it's a wonder food. You can make it into a drink. You can use it as fake blood. You can eat it. You can boil it.
You're a peasant in the 15th fucking century.
Well, no, but...
Why are you making drinks out of beetroot?
But no, I would open up a chain of shops called Big Beats.
Big Beats.
And it'll be like a shack. Like a funky sort of like nice...
Everything in your fucking North Korea is a shack.
A vibey shack.
All right.
It's got a vibe. Bougie, yeah.
Bougie sex dungeon.
No, not a sex dungeon. It's just we just sell beats.
Oh, a bougie beat shop.
It also has
beats.
It plays music like beaty music, like with drums and stuff over the top.
So big beat shops, sex trafficking. Anything else that you can bring to them? I think
You missed out fireworks.
Because the fireworks thing. You're taking something that you want to put on a fireworks display and you go, fantastic, I've got a box of fireworks. Let's put them on intercontinental ballistic missiles.
I've watched Oppenheimer recently. My biggest take from that film was at the start, there's an old guy sitting in front of me. There's an advert for like trying to help the world, trying to like cut down on your emissions and that. Mm-hmm. And this bloke just shouts out bollocks. He was very taken aback by it. But then all the adverts, I was like, he was fine. It was fine if, nuclear bomb being made. That's all right. He was fine.
So that was your takeaway from the film Oppenheimer?
Yeah, bloke shouting bollocks.
Yeah. Mine was like the futile struggle of mankind against its own desires.
Yeah. Well,
that's why film is great, isn't it? You can watch a film and interpret it in different ways, and it's all valid. Do you want to do Barbie, or do you want to hold that for next week? You've seen Barbie
twice now.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's it.
Is that it?
No, it's twice. Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Really?
I watched it once.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Then watched Oppenheimer last weekend, and it was an amazing film.
Yeah, Oppenheimer is genuinely fantastic.
But at the end of it, I felt exhausted. I felt
a lot of wanking.
I had no emotion left. I was just like.
I
felt depressed. I felt depressed for quite a while. So I thought I need to do something. So I went and watched Barbie.
Yeah.
Just so I could feel again.
What were you feeling in that film aimed at children?
It's not aimed at children.
It's a Barbie film.
Definitely not.
You can pretend they can dress it up all they want.
No.
It's a series of adverts for Mattel. They whack on this like feminist message, and that's cool.
People,
But it's like saying a Transformers film that talks about respect is anything more than that. It's a toy film.
no.
They literally said they're going to make Polly Pocket films.
Yeah, and He-Man.
Yeah.
And Battleships again.
Yeah, we need another
Connect
Battleship film.
4.
Yeah.
And Snap.
But Barbie, you saw it twice. With the oldest person in the cinema?
No. The people with children as well.
Yeah, the grandparents taking their kids, right?
I was probably the only person there.
Did you wear pink?
No, I was wearing black because I just watched Oppenheimer.
Yeah. You also went in the hat and everything.
And letting off fireworks and
attached to intercontinental ballistic missiles.
Yeah.
It's interesting you watched Oppenheimer and then still thought it was a good idea to use missiles. And use them as a means
to deliver joy.
Flatten. No, you also said about flattening entire cities.
But only season
I need somewhere to put my Dutch whores.
There was a building, I think in Australia, they tried to blow up like a big tower or some big factory, something. And usually when you watch those videos, they just explode and fall into themselves, and that's it.
Yeah.
This one, 2 of the legs blew up, 2 didn't. So then had to use a digger to a digger.
Okay.
He used a digger to like really smash down the rest of the building. So that was quite a good thing to watch.
But it would be quicker to use just missiles. I do get that.
You can take out much.
Like I say, for me, I'd probably change the haircuts. They're not mandatory. I would not keep them because I want my face on them, but the banners that unfurl down the side of the building. The more I think about it, turning it into a drug and whore city would be probably not worse than it already is. I watched a video on North Korea the other day. It's that YouTuber, not John Cordy.
Oh,
a different YouTuber. He actually doesn't do as many videos in a day.
John does what, 3 or 4 a day?
Yeah, at least 3 or 4.
But he's not a YouTuber.
No,
he has the time to do 3 or 4 videos.
I think it's like 5 or 6 videos a day.
There's live ones already. There's live videos.
He does live ones, but
so chat to him.
Simon Whisker, the bald guy, has a beard, does all the documentary videos. He's like,
yeah.
He was talking about North Korea. He was saying like all of these horrible things that have happened, and at the end he's like, we don't actually know anything. But he only does. I mean, he's on a lot of videos, not the 7 or 8 that John does. You're doing 14, 15 videos a day. That does happen.
Minimum.
Yeah, that does happen.
And then there's also his audio books he reads, which are about just him.
No, he has stopped those because when you're doing sort of 17 to 18 videos on YouTube a day, you haven't got time to do a lot of other things else. He's busy. He's a new dad. He's got a guitar business that is either successful wildly or not. Depends on your interpretation of it. And then plus on that, you've got 20 to 21 videos a day on YouTube, but not a YouTuber. Now, I'm going to be honest. I wasn't going to really rail on him this much. But when I said to him that when he emailed in, Chudd Griffin.
So not John Cordy necessarily.
No, just Chudd Griffin. And I said, James didn't actually say that was a child. He was like, oh, you're turning on me now.
As in, you're turning him on?
I don't know. I think if you're doing sort of 23 to 24 videos on YouTube a day, you have no time to get turned on by things. I think it's been relatively a cumless episode, if that's the word that is okay. I think we did at the start. Yeah, we maybe said a little bit.
But that was him.
But when we were talking about,
you were reading out his
cum a bit more mature. When you were talking about how you were going to sex traffic women in from Holland to the North Korea, you didn't say to do what?
No, they could be doing business people.
Yes, they're sex workers in
the Netherlands.
And they're sex trafficked.
They can be anything they want.
Because it's like if we took John from Amsterdam to North Korea, he would be jazz trafficked. They're sex trafficked. Once they're in North Korea, I assume they can do what they like, right?
Actually, I think I wouldn't do that.
No,
because the internet over there is not very good yet.
Right.
And him doing 80 videos a day would be too much for our internet.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this to him. I said, John, you're doing 75 videos. When are you going to stop? But he doesn't. He can't. Because that's not what a not YouTuber doesn't do. You know? Going to get another advert in from our second sponsor of the show, Ahab and Company, the UK's premier survival clothing gear company, are giving you the chance to get 35% off their autumn-winter range online now at ahabandco.co.uk. Remember, use the code CHEW at checkout. James, you've often said that the Stealth Guard balaclava has stopped many witnesses getting a clear look at your face, and my grandma used to really feel the cold. We got the Frost Barrier Winter Thermal from last year's range, and it helped us identify she actually had Parkinson's, which is great. So remember, that's CHEW at checkout for 35% off.
And the code is actually CHEW at checkout.
Did you see the... And when I say Titan, I don't mean because of the eye situation, but in China, they had... there's rumours that the bears are actually people dressed up.
Yeah.
Have you seen the film Tusk?
No, but I know what it is. Or a walrus one, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. I wouldn't recommend
Kevin
watch
Smith.
it. Yeah. And Justin Long?
Yeah.
He's slowly physically transformed. Like, his legs are broken. He has tusks implanted. He's turned into this walrus. Hence the film Walrus.
Yeah.
Or Tusk. But in Tusk, that's his punishment. It's a really not very good film at all, but it is quite harrowing to watch. I think I'd quite like to have a zoo full of my enemies turned into animals. What animal would you want to be turned into?
A badger.
A badger? Why? I suppose you've already got tuberculosis, haven't you?
Well, yeah, well, I
Breaking news: go to the GoFundMe for James's tuberculosis.
Yeah, please do.
Thing. So, the badger physical transformation, or would it be different if you were offered the chance to wear a
No,
suit?
I'd be like that Japanese bloke who would just kind of wear a costume.
I think I read. Is that the one that
Well,
goes like,
he's turned into a dog.
I'm an animal now?
Yeah, he's into like a little dog.
Yeah, mental health issues there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't you're meant to be like? I mean, we are LGBTQZ allies, 100%. But if you do think you're a dog, you're mental.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've both had mental health training on these. I think you have to be able to say it.
Yeah, you need to call it out.
If you think
see it,
you're
say
a dog, you're not. And that's a worry for me because John obviously has 8 dogs and he's got a little kid now and doesn't think that kid is going to pick up the characteristics of a dog. I had a couple of questions, but I don't really think they're worth. Thank you for listening to Jim and James Chew the Colour. I hope we haven't offended your sensibilities. If you do have any criticism or feedback or questions.
And we are also going to release a special John Cordy cut, which is the intro and the outro, nothing in between.
Yeah,
John Cordy, you're a good man.
Yeah, thanks for all the support. Thank you for the people that have shared it. Thanks for the people that have told their friends. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
That was Jim and James Chew the Cud, a Curson Media production. Produced by Glenn Lopez. Music by Smartle Jennings.
I quite enjoyed it.